tag for you this morning because I have to go pick up my little granddaughter at preschool in about 45 minutes, and I just wanted to share something real quick with you guys. Somebody this weekend asked about, hi Pamela, asked about a tag that I had just copied out of the holiday catalog, and I didn't make it, so I'm sorry if everyone thought that I made it. I didn't. So I thought I attempted to make it this morning, and I thought, well, we'll just figure out how those Stampin' Up artists did it, and that's why I love the catalog, because it's a great idea book and it's a great jumping off point for creating things. So I'm gonna flip the camera around. So the tag is in the catalog, the holiday catalog, and it's on page back here 51, and it uses the Spooky Sweets stamp set, and it's this tag right here. I thought that would be fun because I'm going to show you a couple techniques that I think they use with that, but it's what I did. So let's get started. Let's slip my glasses on. I kind of did some things ahead of time, but I wanted to show you how I did it. I made a stencil with the framelits from the Cauldron framelits. There's a little spider web framelit, and that's how I made my stencil to create the web on the back of the tag. This is the one I did ahead of time, so it had time to dry, but I'm going to show you how I did that. I cut out 4 of these web pieces with the Cauldron framelit, and you end up with 4 pieces. And I wonder if you can see this very well. I'm going to get a piece of black paper. I used the thick Whisper White for the tag and for this stencil. This one here is made with Very Vanilla, but it's the thicker cardstock that Stampin' Up carries, because I can use it again and it'll hold up a little nicer. But what I did was I cut out 4 of these little web pieces, and then I used some mini glue dots, and there's no science to this, but I had to adhere them together. So I used some mini glue dots right there in the center. I did 2 and 2, and then I stuck the 2 together. And you want to get them as close as possible because you don't want your ink to go in between those joining seams. But you know, it kind of gave a tie-dye effect. It's kind of cute. And I'll show you how I came up with the spray, and I did darken it a little bit, so we'll see how it turns out on this other sample. Okay, and then finally, after I adhere those 2 together, I adhere all 4 of them together in the middle. This is seriously the hardest part of this whole thing. And there's my whole spider webs. Isn't that cute? You can put that on a card or a scrapbook page. They work for everything. And then I just took a little piece of scrap paper. I'll just cut a little to cover those little mini glue dots so they don't stick to everything. It doesn't have to be fancy because it's really just a tool you're going to use it's just your stencil. Okay, so that is how I made the stencil for the tag. Now I'm going to show you a quick trick on how I made the tag. This is going to be our tag. But I took a piece of paper that was the same width. This is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And I folded it in half. This is going to be our template so that these are all even and centered. So I just took a piece of paper that was 2 1/4 inches wide, and then I cut the corner off. So now you see Your corners are exactly the same size and they're centered. And then I took my 1/8 inch hole punch and I punched it. So it's right in the center because I punched it right where that fold line was. So that's how I made the template to cut my tag. So then all you have to do, you could use a pencil to draw on these lines, or do it like I do. I just use it for a cutting guide. I just hold it there and follow that little line with my scissors. And then use the little hole punch and you'll know it's exactly in the center of your tag. There you go. So that's how I did that, so that it would be even. Now I took my little stencil that I made, put it right on the center, and this is what I did. I used, let's see, I used Gorgeous Scrape, the Stampin' Ink refill, and I put, first I filled, I probably made too much, but I used a Stampin' Spritzer, and I put a little bit of rubbing alcohol in the Stampin' Spritzer, and then I added, I think I added 5 or 6 drops to make this one, and then I thought, well, I'd like it to be a little darker. So I went back and added 5 or 6 more drops again. So we're gonna see how dark that turned out. I didn't test it out. And to spray my tag, I use a box. It's very fancy, so I don't get stuff all over my workspace. I just use a box. Shake up your ink, do a couple little practice spritzes. Yeah, I do like this better, it's darker. And then pull up your stencil and you've got like a web. Kind of a little, oops, sorry guys. It's kind of a little tie-dye, but it's cute. And I'm going to use this one since it's already dry. We'll move along. All right, so all I need to do is take some basic black. I'll move this out of the way. And we're going to stamp with Versamark ink. And I'm going to need a little piece of scrap paper. I usually use coffee filters, but I didn't want to run upstairs and get coffee filters. And some Versamark ink. And we should use our little Stampin' Buddy if I got it out. I got it out. Here it is. It just helps keep static off when you're heat embossing. I'm going to stamp that. And then sprinkle a little white embossing powder. Or a lot. I'll put this back to clean up later. And then we're going to heat emboss, and I'm sorry if this is really loud. I should have had one already done up for y'all. Okay, after that's embossed, sorry, I keep hitting the camera stand. I'm going to punch that out with a 1 1/4 circle punch. Then I'm going to take a little strand of this silver mini sequin trim, so cute, and stick it behind there. I want to see how long I want it to be. And I'm just gonna put a little adhesive back there just to hold that. I'm going to add a Stampin' Dimensional here in a minute. I want that to be kind of okay, and now I'm going to add a Stampin' Dimensional to the back of the tag. Probably a couple, maybe. And just stick that over here to the side. Okay, if you watched my Facebook Live video, this is where I changed it up a little bit after the filming was done. I added a few little splatters, and I'm going to show you how I did that. I took a big block, and I just added a little bit of the ink refill that we used for the spray. I could do this on the inside of the stamp pad, and I'm going to use this on that darker tag we made earlier, and I do need a lot of water, so I'm really squeezing the water out of my aqua painter here, and then I'm just going to tap it with my over my finger, or you could tap it over a pencil just to get a few little spooky splatters on there. And that's all I did, and I did not include that on my Facebook Live video. Once I finished, I thought, you know what, I left out a step after I compared it to the tag on the and then I'm just going to make sure I get all this purple ink off of my aqua painter, so when I use it the next time, we'll be fine. I can clean that out a little bit later, but that's pretty good. So I had left that part off, and I wanted to show you how I got the splatters on there. Now we're going to do the stars, and I used a stamp from the stamp set. The Spooky Sweet stamp set. There's a little tiny star, and I also used the Mango Melody ink, and I just grabbed some scraps of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to use a punch, and this is the, I always forget what it's called, it is the Twinkle Builder punch. And it coordinates with this beautifully. It has the moon and the stars, the star. So you can punch out the moon and the star. And then the bundle, if you get the Spooky Sweets stamp set with the Spooky Bats punch, you save 10%. But the Spooky Bats punch will punch out the bats. Always love a punch because it makes creating so much quicker and easier. But since I'm just gonna punch out a few of these stars, and it's the big one, I'm just using some scrap paper, little Whisper White scrap paper, stamping those stars on there, and then fitting it in the punch. And I want 3 of them. So one more. These builder punches are always nice to have in your toolbox because there's just, they add little extra touches. So in the Facebook video, I had used which is fine too, I had used the little framelit die for the little stars and Mango Melody cardstock. But I noticed on the sample in the catalog, and that's what we're trying to copy, is this tag right here on page 51. the stars were bigger, and I said, wait a minute, I used the wrong one. So it's the stamp from the stamp set, and then we use the Twinkle Builder punch. And then these can be placed on our project very easily with mini glue dots. They're just big enough. See how that makes all the difference? The stars really show up. So I'm just placing them right where I had the previous little stars. That cute. Okay, then we need to attach it to our treat container. And I just have a Starbucks coffee jar. I haven't spray painted the lid yet. The lid that came with this was red, and I would prefer it to be black or purple. Or I can just leave the lid off. So I just filled it with some shreddy, some Halloween shreddy before, in lieu of the candy. I had some Candy Kisses, and I want something a little bit more. I just want something a little bit more to put in this jar. So I'm using the basic black baker's twine, and I'm also using the ribbon. It is the, what do they call this ribbon? It's the glittered organdy ribbon. I love it. So pretty. So I'm going to tie that around my container. I'm going to slip one of these through here. Oops. I just want that little thread to be right there so I can, this may or may not work, and I don't think it's going to work. Let me get this going, and then we'll get that tucked in there. There we go. Now I'm gonna, before I tie the bow, I'm gonna tuck this baker's twine in there. Tighten that up a little bit again. This is always so awkward. I have fumbling fingers sometimes, I feel, or just big fingers, but it works. So I always feel like it's so awkward in the camera for you guys. Okay, I'm going to trim off that extra in just a minute after I tie the bow. So I'm going to try and get the part where the silver is on the outside. So I'm twisting the ribbon because the little silver glitter is on one side of the ribbon, even though both sides look just fine. There we go. But I was going to try and get my bows, and I just tied it upside down. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves. I can't talk and do this at the same time. I have to really focus. There we go. Lots better. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. And then we can kind of trim off these longer threads. This one got tucked in somewhere. That's okay, it works. But that is the tag. I think it is so cute, and it turned out really nice. You could tie this on a box. You could even just do a bow and attach it to a little treat bag. You could put a to from down here. You could even do one of those little bats with the basic black. Let's see what that looks like. Let's play around. Just put a little bat with the Batty Spooky Bats Punch. That changes it up a little bit from the, I kind of like it with the bat. What do y'all think? Let's stick that on there with a glue dot. It's a little different than the sample in the catalog, but kind of fills up that space right there. So cute. I like it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe to my channel, and you'll be sure to be notified when I have new videos up. And go over to my blog for more ideas, theplaidpoodle.com. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.